Katowice playing just finished, and there were a few surprises in teams that went through to the group stage, and a few teams that I was shocked to see not go through. I'm Astronaut CS, let's talk about it. Before we look at the preview, if you could leave a like and subscribe, that would really help me a lot, thank you. So the teams that I was surprised to see go through, considering the teams they had to face, as well as the way they had looked previously, were 3D Max, Virtus.pro and Astralis. The most shocking of these is 3D Max, just because they seemed so flat in the Blast Bounty. And I was worried that the team we had seen for the last 6 months that had been progressing was maybe on the come down, but they absolutely battered the teams they faced in the play-in, and I thought that these teams would have given them a bit more of a tough match. Then for Virtus.pro, even though I thought they would go through this stage, they really had an awful showing against Pain, where they looked so flat and outmaneuvered constantly. I think that maybe they did benefit from the draw to make it through, as I think if they faced some of the teams that didn't make it through, like a wild card, they could have definitely been challenged more. But, fair play to them, they did come through against both Saw and MOBR very cleanly. Then finally, I thought Astralis would have never beaten Pain. I didn't see this result coming whatsoever. To be fair, they were the best side when they faced, but I just didn't expect to see them ever beat Pain, and that's just where I'm completely surprised. Astralis did have to work for it, especially against FlyQuest, as that was a close affair, but again, I wouldn't have been surprised if Astralis did lose to them either, so you have to give them credit. They did fight hard, and maybe in matchups they weren't preferred in, to go through the stage, plus Device looked in great form again, which just really, I think, aided this side. But then we have to address the elephant in the room, that is Pain. Now, after the loss to Astralis, Vigazera did say that they just were off. I'm not sure why, but their shooting definitely wasn't as hard. But let's be real, right? I'm a jinx. It's my fault that they lost. It's because I tweeted that I love watching them play, so it's all my fault. But in reality, I could see them maybe being slightly too overconfident in this stage, as they thought they could be a playoffs teams, which I don't think is a crazy thing to say at all. But that's my potential look at it, is that they were looking at the lights and the glory a little bit too early, and they needed to stay a little bit grounded for a little bit longer. But fingers crossed this team will bounce back super strongly, as they're super entertaining to watch. Now let's take a look at the next stage then. We've now got 2 groups, both with 8 teams in them, where 3 of each group will make it to the playoffs, with there being 1 spot in the lower bracket. Group A has G2, Virtus.pro, Falcons, Eternal Fire, Vitality, 3D Max, FaZe and Big. And Group B has Spirit, Astralis, Na'Vi, Furia, Mouse, Gamer Legion, the Mongols and Liquid. Now this is where it gets really cutthroat, and these games are honestly going to be so exciting to see, as we are guaranteed to see some of the big teams miss the playoffs. So the opening matches are obviously all on screen here, where G2 will probably be favourites against Virtus.pro. This is definitely a 50-50, but if you're looking on form, Eternal Fire would probably be the favourites here. Then we've got Vitality 3D Max, who I think most people will see Vitality going through. And then FaZe versus Big, which is also probably a closer affair than people might think, because I think Big are actually underrated, but I think most people will expect to see FaZe go through. Then Group B, we've got Spirit versus Astralis, where Spirit once again, as usual, are the favourites. We've got Na'Vi versus Furia, where Na'Vi will also be the favourites here. And we've got Mouse versus Gamer Legion. This is Mouse without Shuei, and with Zelex instead. And they couldn't play with Spinks in this tournament due to the roster lock, which is a bit of a stupid thing to have a roster lock now. I wouldn't be surprised if Gamer Legion definitely upset Mouse here. Then the Mongols Liquid, that's definitely a 50-50 toss-up. Probably 60-40, maybe 65-35 to the Mongols. The only reason I say it's maybe a slightly closer is just due to the fact that Mongols haven't played an official this year, and it's we're now at the end of January, going into February by the time this will be played, so we'll see. I feel that on paper, Group A is definitely the stronger of the 2 brackets. I think you could make an argument for 5 or 6 of the teams here out of the 8 to go through playoffs, whereas I feel like the floors on some of these teams in Group B is definitely lower compared to the teams in Group A. But I'm going to have a go at predicting who I think will go through the whole group. I'm not going to predict every single matchup. That's a bit, suicidal. The team I'm going to go for in Group A, I'm going to go for Vitality, I'm going to go for Eternal Fire, and I'm going to go for G2. Vitality, I think, is an obvious pick when you consider that they only have to get to the upper final. If you get to the upper final, you qualify, and if you win the lower final, you will qualify. So basically, Vitality need to beat 3D Max and then one of FaZe and Big, and I just think they'll definitely be the favourites in both these matchups. So I would consider them to be a lock-in into the playoffs. Also, they are group stage merchants. That's where Zywoot cooks. So I wouldn't be surprised, especially against a team like 3D Max. And then Eternal Fire, I think they've been really, really strong since making the move of Jota instead of Calyx, and they're clearly out of this group the team with the best form so far. I know it's only been a tournament and a half, but I think they've really showed some early signs that they can cause some damage, so I would expect to see them go through. And then G2 might be a bit rogue to not have been like one of the first picks, but I think that just massive worries with the leadership still. I do think, the core of Monacy, Mobs, and Heavy God is a very strong one. I just think that the calling and the leadership could be where this team falters, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them have to go through a lower bracket run, maybe losing to one of the two of Eternal Fire or Falcons. For Group B, obviously I think Spirit will go through, no questions asked. They're the best team in the world and they haven't dropped off since the break, so I think they're an absolute lock-in. I think Na'Vi, obviously another team that have to be in the conversation for winning the whole tournament, and they started this year pretty decently. I think maybe not the performance they wanted, but I think they had some good matches, and their peak still looks to be there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them go through. However, if they do, I think they'll have to make it through the lower finals, just because I think they will lose to Spirit in the upper semis here and be forced to make a lower bracket run. Then the third pick, I am between whoever just wins this game between the Mongols and the Liquid. It's similar to the Vitality pick, where I think the winner of this matchup will probably be the winner of Mouse and Game Legion, and that will secure them into the upper final where they'll go through into the playoffs. And obviously I said before, I think it's like a 60-40 game where Mongols should be favourites and they are the better side, but I can see the ring rust definitely playing a factor, and Liquid have been playing at Katowice for the last few days already in the play-in stage, so I wouldn't be surprised if they came in hot and beat the Mongols. So this one is definitely hard to choose and hard to call. I'm a Twist fanboy, but I think Mongols will go through because they are the better team at the end of the day. Then let's go over the fantasy again. I'm an absolute idiot, and in the first stage I didn't actually select any roles for my players. I didn't realise that was a thing. As you can see, that was definitely my first time. But I think I scored pretty decently. Obviously Dexter got -6 points, but Woxic and Twist really carried me through here quite well. But as you can see down here, the rating, I did really well on the team. I did well, but if I had some rolls, probably would have picked up some more points, which is a bit frustrating. Boosters I didn't really choose too well from, but hey, that's how it goes. But as you can see here, I've actually added rolls for my next stage, which is wow. Innovative, wow, unbelievable from me. But as you can see here, I've gone for Cadian Noob because he's a noob, and then I've gone for bottom of the scoreboard against Spirit as well, because I think they're going to get absolutely trounced, and I don't see him getting more than 5 kills. Main AWP, I've gone for Voxic. I had him in the stage before, and he was very good. I think for a very, very good side. Then I've also gone for Magix. And the leader thing, basically, if they win a clean 2-0, basically, I get more points for the team, which I think they'll probably do, especially against Astralis. And I could see them beating any of the teams in their group 2-0. And then I've got Bit, the headshot machine, as the headshot machine, and top of the scoreboard, and then I've got NAF as well, and I'm quite happy with this team for the amount of money. That's all for today. Make sure to stay tuned for the playoff preview. I can't say obviously when, I'm just going to get it out as soon as I can, where we'll look at the final 6 teams and look at who I think will take the crown. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.